In order to check our squeegee adjustment, we need to first apply power to the machine in the operating position. Our keypad should read the standard. From that point, that is our start menu. We need to hit the test output key in the lower right-hand corner of your keypad. This will enable us to advance through the different outputs until we reach the one that we're looking for, which in this case will be the squeegee up and down. Once we're there, we can simply press the on-off key. The squeegee will go in the down position. And now we can unplug the machine, stand it up in transport position, and check the adjustment with our level. Now we're going to check for the proper squeegee crush to the lane. This should be from 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 of an inch, and we will use a level and a set of feeler gauges to verify this measurement. Place the level against your lane distance wheel and the blades of the squeegee, and make sure not to apply too much pressure or the blades will roll back and you won't get a good, accurate adjustment read. We're looking for the distance between the drive wheel and the level. So we set our feeler gauges at a starting point of 125 thousandths, and that looks very good. In the event that we would have to raise or lower the squeegee, we'd simply loosen up the 2 1/4 nuts that are on the squeegee support arm, and we actually have an adjusting nut up top, and that will increase or decrease the squeegee crush to the lane. We also have another adjustment, which is blade pitch, and that is something we would do to the machine in operating position, and we're going to take you through that in a little bit. But it's very important to make sure that you have equal blade contact on both the back and the front blade. The only way to adjust the squeegee pitch is by a turnbuckle that is behind this cover. And as you notice, we have removed the recovery tank, and we had 2 other screws down here which we also removed so that we can gain access to this turnbuckle. What we would need to do is break loose these jam nuts that connect the threaded rod to each of the eyelets and actually remove this bolt from the squeegee cam assembly. You'll notice there's also a jam nut in between the eyelet and the squeegee cam. You may want to hold that with your finger or put a thin 1/2 inch open-end wrench on that while you're unscrewing the mount bolt. Once the turnbuckle is free of the cam, you can adjust the length by turning the rod end and the threaded rod. Remember that the rod ends are normal threads. If you adjust only the rod, it will thread into one rod end and out of the other. So if you're making a large adjustment, it's best to adjust the rod in and out of one eyelet and adjust the opposite eyelet that equal number of threads. If you lengthen the turnbuckle, you will decrease the amount of contact on the front blade and increase the amount of contact on the rear blade. And remember to not make the turnbuckle too short, as it will cause the squeegee motor to bind when it's trying to make the rotation of the cam. While we're in this area, why don't we make sure that our squeegee up and down microswitches are adjusted properly. If either switch is too close to the cam, the switch will eventually be crushed when the cam lobe rotates into it. So it's very important that we have the proper clearance in between the actual microswitch arm and the lobe of the cam itself. You'll notice you have 2 bolts that go through your squeegee microswitch and your side plate. And there are 2 slotted holes in the side plate that allow you to raise or lower that switch. What we would simply do is make sure that we could slip a 25 thousandths feeler gauge in between the arm of that switch and the lobe of that cam. And then if we needed to make an adjustment, we would loosen these 2 bolts and adjust as necessary. Once we plug the lane machine back in, the cam will rotate to the squeegee up switch, and we're going to check that switch in the same way that we checked the squeegee down switch.